Nice to be here with you again today. My name is Ray Gooch, and I am with Spectrum Career. And the project I'm working on is Job Search That Works. And you can find a little bit of information about Job Search That Works at jobsearchthatworks.com. And this morning's topic is going to be, is my resume good enough? So if you have any questions about whether or not your resume is good enough and what you can do to improve it, please let me know, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. I see quite a few people join us. Artem, Sergey, thank you for joining. It's nice to have you here today. And once again, my topic is going to be, hi Moscow, it's good to have you. Is my resume good enough? And some of the things that I have had questions come to me about resumes are, just basic format questions. Is it really going to get the attention of an employer? Shadavi, thank you very much for joining. It's nice to have you. It's good to see people coming in. And hi, Nasi, it's really good to have you here as well. If you are in the job search currently, or if you are looking to improve your situation, one of the most critical pieces of literature that you have is a resume, of course, to get your job search jump started. And one of the things that is really important about to understand about your resume is that it is not intended to be an autobiography of your life. A lot of people that put them together think that they have to include every detail on their resume, and that's just not the case. Sometimes it's much more effective if you step back a second, take a look at the position that you're applying for, and make sure that you only include information on your resume which will directly apply to the position for which you are applying. Let me give you an example of, I've seen resumes that go 20, 30 years back. Anna, thank you very much for joining me. If you're going 20 or 30 years back, that's irrelevant information for the most part. Most of the time, the last 10 years is all that an employer's really interested in. And not so much the duties that you have been involved in. Employers are more interested in your accomplishments, the things that you've brought to the table that are going to make you productive for them. How you're going to be demonstrating how you're going to be able to make money for them, demonstrating how you're going to be able to save money for their organization, or improve the way that their business flows. So, folks, thank you for joining me. If you're just now tuning in, my name is Ray Gooch. I'm a Spectrum Career, and the project I'm working on is jobsearchthatworks.com. I provide a lot of information that you can get over at jobsearchthatworks.com for free. There's tons of information there if you're actively looking for a new job, or if you're considering making a change from your present position. And if you like what you're hearing, I'd really appreciate you sharing this with other friends and family. Also, if you have questions, take some time, jot them there for me. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Now, a few principles to keep in mind about a resume is that, especially in Western cultures, we read from left to right, top to bottom. So the most important information you're going to have on a resume will appear toward the top and toward the left. That's where the most attention is going to be paid on a resume. Whenever a recruiter or an HR professional or a hiring manager takes a look at your resume, they're only spending about 18 seconds tops, according to some studies that you can find on that subject. And if you've only got 18 seconds, you need to make sure that the most important thing happens, what we call above the fold. It's what appears first on the resume. Yes, your name's important. It needs to be kind of bold. Another principle that you need to be aware of is that email addresses that are, kind of cutesy, like hotchick@gmail.com or whatever. You don't want to put that kind of thing on your resume. Make sure it's a professional email address. And it's really debatable whether you want to put your address, your physical address on there or not. If you're applying for a position that's some driving distance away from your home or in another town, you may not want to put your physical address on there because the first thing an employer's thinking is, okay, if they've got a long commute, I'm not so sure that I want to bring them on. Arthur, Nikki Purple, thank you for joining me. We're talking about resumes today, and if you're in a job search, is my resume the kind of resume that's going to get me my next position that I'm really going to enjoy and love? But concerning putting your physical address on your resume, if you live close to the job you're applying for, I would suggest, sure, go ahead and put it on there. If you're not living very close to the position you're applying for, you may not want to put it on there because an employer is going to go, okay, their commute's too far, or I'm going to have to pay relocation expenses, and quite frankly, I don't want to pay out the additional cash. Another thing that you want to focus on, as I mentioned yesterday in the scope, eliminate objectives for the most part on your resume at the top. You don't want to pigeonhole yourself into one position that if you don't get hired for that position that you're not interested for anything else. Instead of an objective, put a professional overview. Give people an idea of all the things that you're capable of doing, and it's an opportunity for you to brag about yourself just a little bit. Another thing that you want to pay attention to is where your dates of employment are located. I don't recommend you putting them over on the left-hand side of the resume. Slide them over to the right-hand side because they're less likely to be paid a lot of attention to. The thing that needs to be on the left-hand side will be things like your job title, bolded. Make sure that it's accentuated. The company where you worked can be next, but you don't need to bold that unless it's a household name that's going to get a lot of people's attention whenever you send that resume out there and they're just salivating to have somebody from that company. But most of the time, the company isn't as important as the role you fulfilled. And then city and state, not necessarily for you to put that on your resume, which city the company was located in. The next thing underneath your job title needs to be a short paragraph of about 2 or 3 lines, which will tell about the primary duties of the job, things that were really essential for you to actually perform. But don't put too many duties in there. I would really focus on the bullet points below that, which talk about your accomplishments, things that you were able to bring to the table in your previous employer. So that's what my encouragement is. I would keep it to 1 page if at all possible. And then one final note, I wouldn't put a whole lot of personal information on there about religious affiliations or political affiliations or anything of that nature. Keep it straightforward, focused on the job that you're applying for, and you're going to have quite a few different resumes. I suggest that you pull one together for each job that you're applying for. If they have different qualifications, you're going to want to change that resume up to focus on where you have done the job that they are posting or the job that they are looking at you for. So that's my advice for the day. I look forward to speaking with you again tomorrow. So once again, my name is Ray Gooch. Feel free to go over to jobsearchthatworks.com and check that out. I actually have a free resource for anybody that would like to make use of it, and you can get that by going to www.jobsearchthatworks.com. That's jobsearchthatworks.com/resume. And once you go to that resume page, if you just sign up for the email list, there's a free resource that you can get there that will coach you along on how to pull together a very effective resume. Once again, thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I'll give you a couple of seconds, and if not, I'll talk to you tomorrow, and thank you again for joining me. Take care. Have a good day. Was this episode helpful? If you know you need to shift your career into high gear and just can't find the time to jump through all the hoops that HR puts you through, if you've sent out hundreds of resumes with no response, or maybe you've had an interview or two and you aren't getting called back for the next step, you're in the right place. So click here to subscribe to this channel, and then go over to jobsearchthatworks.com for lots of free career advice in my podcast and my blog. While you're there, sign up for my mailing list to receive additional job search tools you can take immediate action on. Do it today and I'll show you how this hiring game really works. It's your future. Take charge of it.